Hey everybody, this is Perch. I think this question actually sums up better in many ways than how I've tried to explain the issue. And it talks about respect kind of in comics. And I think a lot of people focus on the glass half empty part. This company doesn't respect me as a customer, therefore I won't give them money. And I'm not saying that doesn't happen. I'm sure it happens. I mean, obviously it happens. People talk about it all the time. But I actually think it's the opposite end of that has more of an impact. Basically, when a publisher or creator shows you a lot of respect, or basically does the right things, whether it's from their heart or it's from their marketing, I think positive interactions in comics make an equally big, if not bigger, difference. Because I think, given that comics are a collectible and that they keep coming out, my feeling is that if a company or a creator wins you over, then you almost it's almost like a relationship. You hate to leave it, and so the bad will certainly is not good. But you find yourself, if somebody's treated you nicely, you find yourself making lots of excuses to stay. And I think that's a scenario that you see a lot of long-term collectors, for example, with Marvel, where parts of their publishing line are just aimed at a completely different audience now, but you still see people like wanting to hold on. I think I've said on the channel in the past, I'm a long time X-Men collector, have been forever, continue to collect those comics. It's clear to me that the comics that the X-Men office, the X office, are putting out are not for me. They're aimed at a different group. They're aimed at some other customer base that they're interested in. It's clear I'm not that base. So I mean, in many ways, they're inviting me to leave. And but I hate to do it because I've got all these issues. I've got this unbroken run, so I keep hanging in there. But it's and a lot of that is because it built up such loyalty, such trust decades ago, that it still sticks with it. Now, I think I'm an extreme example. I don't think everybody's this way, but I mean, it just goes to say. So this is the question, or that I got this email. It says, "Hey Perch, my fiance and I have really gotten into comics in the last year, and we probably spend $30 to $40 at a local comic shop every Wednesday. I've fallen in love with some great stories. Shout out to Daniel Warren Johnson's Beta Ray Bill, the Murphyverse. But I'm starting to lose my mind at the way comics are priced. I can usually make peace with the $3.99 price point for an issue, but I can't pretend it doesn't make me feel like Todd McFarlane is my best friend for keeping Spawn at $2.99. Every interview or press release I have seen from him emphasizes customer value and entertainment factor. And when I'm holding two comics in my hand trying to make a purchasing decision, that really does make a difference. It's not just that I want to spend less money, but it just feels like creators like McFarlane and Robert Kirkman respect me more. I looked at my growing comic shelf, and three-quarters of it are from Image. I happily bought all three Invincible compendiums because I trusted the creative team and I wanted to actively support them. I got a wonderful, exciting, and consistent story in return. By contrast, I bought the first issue of that Joker comic, held my nose at the $4.99 price point, and enjoyed it. I cautiously went to buy the second issue only to see that every other issue was $5.99. A shameless bait and switch for one of the biggest companies in comics. And I really thought they were worth twice as much as Spawn. And they really thought they were twice as much Spawn. It just felt gross, like they had conned me, given the naive customer a first hit for free. It made me remember that they're owned by the phone company. That's a, by the way, that's a hell of that's a hell of a comparison to draw. You're correct. It's just that's a stark way of looking at things. I don't blame you. Yikes. But I doubt many people have thought about it that way, but now they're going to. Anyway, I've had the same problem trying to get into the original Marvel runs. The compendiums are, I literally cannot believe this, $125 each. I'm not an idiot. Video games, books, albums, all these things depreciate over time. How on God's green earth am I supposed to feel good giving Disney that much money for 60-year-old content? I just bought the first Spawn compendium for $50, and oh look, it's the same writer-artist on the entire run. I want to be able to be a reader for comics for a while, at reasonable prices and not immediately be swindled at collector prices. I don't want to be an investment. I just want to see if Mark Grayson ever tries to grow a mustache. He did at one point, yeah. Thanks for all the videos. They really brighten my day. Okay, that's awesome. Honestly, I think that summarized incredibly well what's going on. And notice, by the way, that nowhere in that mail did the person writing it talk about some kind of Twitter drama or somebody getting blocked or somebody talking about Trump or anything else. It came down to something far more neutral, if you will, which is their wallet. And basically this sense of, is this a kind of customer relationship that's trying to be built, or is it, is it a kind of a cash grab, or just some kind of corporate machine? I can't get over that. That the truthful, it's not a comparison, it's the reality of it, that this is from a company that's owned by a phone company. And the kind of the tough part, and I've heard this in stores before, is people will ask, hey, wait a minute, image should be more expensive. Image is not subsidized by a billion-dollar entity like Marvel and Disney and DC are. So why is it? I mean, Marvel and DC have the easiest way to the most likely ability to charge less. They, if the comics are kind of IP generators for the movies, if they are marketing for the movies, then why the hell do they cost so much? They don't need that money. I mean, now granted, I'm not some kind of crazy socialist here. Everybody needs money, and I think that the market will bear is how pricing should work. If people are willing to plop down $4.99 and that's what the market will bear, then charge $4.99. That's their right as a company to do that. However, it is a little, you got to scratch your head a little bit that Todd McFarlane does hold his price at $2.99, and you see these billion-dollar backed companies raising the cost. And I thought that Joker thing was absolutely ridiculous, that they they're experimenting with $5.99 and kind of the other pricing. And there were different covers and different there's things that were going on there, but it was that wasn't customer friendly. And it goes to what I said at the beginning, which is, good if you as a company or as a creator can give off the perception that, hey, I'm here for you. I care about your business. I value your business. I'm going to take steps and do things to, say thank you for being a customer. In many cases, a lot of people who collect comics are so, I don't know, I guess so used to being mocked or laughed at or disregarded. And by the way, I'm not talking about from comic publishers or creators themselves. Keep in mind, until relatively recently, the people who collected comics, the comics readers, those are not the coolest kids in school. Well, I mean, obviously I was, but we were the outsiders. We were the independents. We were the people who were into comics, and that was kind of the nerdy thing, to whatever you want to call it. That was not the mainstream. We were used to people kind of denigrating what it was. I mean, you look at what the Big Bang Theory, where there's a comic shop there, and even though parts of that are attempting to be realistic, they're the part of the joke is that these people are nerds. We're supposed to laugh at them. We're supposed to mock them to some extent. This is what comic people are used to. Customers are used to. And so if you come into this and you treat those customers like they matter, like they're people who are, good, solid people that you're glad they're there, you're happy to see them. This was one of the core parts of what comic conventions used to be like. It was a place where comic collectors could come, and there were smiles from the publishers and from the creator. They were happy to see you. They were glad you were there. It was a fun expression of comics and everything else. It wasn't weird performative social media drama where you're screaming at somebody for not wearing your Rorschach mask, whatever it happened to be. It was designed to be, hey, we're here, we respect your business, we love you. And I think Kirkman does carry that out with his Skybound work, and kind of as an ambassador. I did these other videos talking about, who is the next Stan Lee, who is the next person who can kind of hoist comics up on their shoulders and be the spokesman, the ambassador, the evangelist for how awesome comics are. And from my perspective right now, Kirkman is really high on that list, if not at the top. He is somebody who, at his level, is able to put out big comics, and he is very comics friendly. Now, if you really look into Kirkman, you will find that he has certainly politics. He hasn't hidden it. He hasn't, pretended that he's something he's not. but he has consistently told his customers that I give a shit about you. And I think the price, this mail, what I love about this mail is it's really talking about the price as a huge factor here. I think if you, as a company, and it was a comment about, look, Todd's putting out this compendium, this omnibus of comics for $50. The Marvel equivalent is 125. There's different, certainly, flavors of this. But yeah, I mean, that is one of the weird things about trades and omnibuses and other collections that get done. Why aren't the big companies putting those out as cheap as possible? These are the things that are going to bring new comic readers to the table, bring new collectors to the table. You shouldn't price out that group. It's a reprint. I understand it's trade paperbacks packaged up a certain way, but again, once upon a time, trades were viewed as, again, as reprints, as less valuable than the original comic, so they were priced less valuable. The trade paperback collections, were cheaper. There's a trade paperback collection of the Dark Phoenix saga, which had a ton of comics in there. It was less than $10. That's how they used to price it. Today, it feels like they're squeezing you out for a bit of money, and what that's doing, I guess this is the glass half full versus glass half empty approach. The glass half full approach is the publishers and the creators that are making an effort to really reach out to customers and say, we respect your business. We're going to try and treat you well. We're not going to let you feel like you're nickel and dime. Man, it started raining like crazy here. We're not going to cheat you. We want you to walk away feeling like you got a good deal, both in story and in content. Those people are going to earn loyalty that I think will go on for, it could go on for decades. That's the thing. I think if you treat somebody with respect, if you treat a customer well, they will bend over backwards to honor that, respect it, support you in return, and look over, ignore a lot of nonsense. I think the glass half empty side is, if you do give the feeling that it's just quick money and you're just going to kind of squeeze out every dollar you can from your customer, I think whether you're rude to them or you treat them with disregard, you're giving people reasons not to, not to work with you, not to talk to you, not to give you their money. So anyway, I love that mail. I love the way you broke it down. So Cameron, thank you very much for the mail. I think it's awesome. I love the way you illustrated that. And yeah, again, a lot of people talk about various politics, various things that are said on social media, all those kinds of aspects, but in many cases that becomes a red herring, because before you know it, you're not arguing about whether this behavior is good or bad or whether it's encouraging customers or not. You're arguing whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, or you're arguing which side of the power structure you're on. If you notice, a lot of these arguments quickly go take a right turn to an ideological argument rather than a common sense argument. And so the reason I especially like your mail is you framed it up as, look, the cost. The cost of the comic is also a sign of respect. It's also a way to either attract or reject your customer base. I'm sure somebody will find a way, but it's a little hard to turn this into an ideological argument when we're talking about a price tag, when we're talking about basic economics. Again, I know there's a way, and some people in the comments, maybe you can you'll find that way, and you can show us all. But in all honesty, I think it's a great point, and thank you very much for the mail. What do the rest of you think? Again, we spend a lot of time talking about negative interactions. I think equally important, or even more important, is positive interactions. The interactions that are positive go a long, long way. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you for sending the question in. If you have a question, by all means, toss it my way. And thanks for listening.